Hello and welcome. Carrie here from Healing Humanity, the Power of a Proper Human Diet. And today I am thankful, grateful, blessed. We are here to honor Jeff Prosperis. I'm so thankful everyone's joining here. We got Coach Dwight, Dr. Tony Hampton, Ronnie Campbell, Alia Wells. We have a lot of stuff in store for you today, including an amazing presentation that Dr. Hampton has put together. I've got some stuff. Several of Jeff's friends are going to be jumping on, including, welcome, Anthony Hayden. How's it going, buddy? So we're going to have people jumping on and off throughout the night. We've got Homesick Buckeye Russ, who's done a really awesome video. Jeff absolutely loved Russ. So we have a little video we'll share on that a little bit later. I think a lot of people might be jumping over from the premiere we just did. We did a 45-minute tribute to Jeff Prosperis. So I guess I'll start real quick, and then if anyone else wants to jump in, I know we have the presentation from Dr. Hampton as well. JT's here now too, so we got people jumping on. Hey JT, welcome.
Hey guys.
So I think everyone here probably knows Jeff and Jeff's story, but I'll recap it quickly. Adam, welcome, Adam.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Adam.
Jeff was diagnosed with stage 4 terminal cancer, and he was told he just had months to live, 3 months. And he went on to thrive for 30 months. He 10x'd what they told him. And that's due in large part to Coach Dwight intervening and kind of leading him on a path. And we can talk about that a little bit more. It's just absolutely incredible what Dwight did for Jeff. Although, give credit where due, Jeff did all of the hard work. Jeff did nearly 50 5-day fasts and nearly 50 rounds of chemo, which is just incredible. And he felt like he was 20 years old. And when he first started with cancer and he was doing chemotherapy, he was on the standard American diet, and he was suffering and he was fatigued and he was weak. And when he started carnivore, he told me he felt like he was 20 years old again, and he was full of energy and he was just thriving. Jeff inspired so many people, and he helped so many people. He did YouTube videos with Dr. Hampton, Dr. Kiltz, Dr. Chafee, myself. I think he did like 32 hours worth of videos, and all of that was just Jeff volunteering his time. He wasn't like monetized on YouTube or doing it for any other reason than he wanted to help people. He became a good friend of mine and everyone here. He's absolutely incredible individual. So we want to honor Jeff tonight. We want to share some memories, some stories, and go from there. So I'll stop rambling now. The other thing I'll just say real quick, maybe introduce Alia. Alia's awesome. Alia, you knew Jeff a little bit as well, although I don't think you ever got to meet him in person, right?
Unfortunately, no. But yes, I knew his virtual persona.
Right. One of the things that we're trying to do for Jeff, for his wife Martha and his boys Peter and Dante, is we set up a GoFundMe. Dwight and I did, and it's pretty awesome if you think about it. Jeff did all of this amazing work for free because he wanted to help people. And sadly, when people go through stage 4 cancer, they end up with a lot of medical bills and bills for their regimen and things like that. And Jeff never did YouTube to make any money, but interestingly now, like putting all this together and doing this GoFundMe, there's a lot of people that are supporting Jeff. So it's kind of a beautiful thing that he's able to support his family in this way with this GoFundMe after the fact. And I was just looking at it. I think so far we've raised 619 donations for 43,725 Canadian dollars for Martha and the boys, which is incredible. So we're going to try to raise more. There is a link in the description if anyone wants to donate. If you can donate $1 or $10 or whatever. And if you can't donate, that's great too. Just prayers for the family, or sharing the GoFundMe, or sharing Jeff's channel, Blessings on My Journey. There's links in the description below for all of that. So Alia is going to help with that as well, because she's awesome with that stuff. So we really appreciate it. Maybe we could just go around and do a little introduction. So Carrie, Healing Humanity. Dwight, feel free, please introduce yourself. Anything you want to say as well?
No, I'm Dwight Garlow. I've been doing the carnivore diet for nearly 6 years now, and I used it to reverse my diabetes, and along with my diabetes, I healed my Oh, geez, so many things from a little bit of anxiety to fatty liver, high blood pressure, the whole metabolic syndrome. I had metabolic syndrome. I got rid of all that with the carnivore diet. And yeah, now I'm thriving on the PhD.
Dwight's a humble guy. I remember Jeff saying that specifically, but Dwight, you're incredible. We just did a video a while ago with Dwight honoring him, but besides helping Jeff, Dwight's helped 65 people in his community fix their metabolic health, reverse type 2 diabetes, find a path to healing. It's absolutely incredible, Dwight, what you're doing. So I think that's something we should celebrate. I said that before, but around the movie theater here, we like superheroes, but those guys are fake. There's actually real heroes out in the world. It's pretty incredible. So I love you, Dwight. And speaking of real heroes, we got absolutely. We got Dr. Tony Hampton too here. Speaking of heroes, getting people off their medication, helping people heal. So yeah, Dr. Tony Hampton, maybe if you could talk a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm happy to be one of those rare doctors, certainly in Chicago, who is crazy enough to eat a carnivore diet. But I've been blessed because of it. And about 12 years ago, I was a vegetarian. We were vegetarian in my household for about 8 years. But 12 years ago, I learned about low carb from the greats who teach this great message out there. Then I kind of transitioned to keto and finally to carnivore. For me, it was about irritable bowel, which I do not have any symptoms at all anymore. And for my wife, it was about type 1 diabetes, which she developed that as an adult. And as a vegetarian, we couldn't control her sugars. And ultimately, it took for her as more of a ketovore diet, but it really took ketovore to get her to a place where her blood sugars could normalize. And it's very difficult for a type 1. So in Chicago, I'm a family doctor, obesity doctor. I have an obesity clinic, and I try to integrate these concepts into everything I do. And I hear healing stories every single day because of this. But prior to that, I was basically a drug dealer. I was giving drugs over and over again. Nobody was getting off medicines. But once I discovered this low carb, keto, and carnivore approach, and it depends on the person which way we go, people have healed. So for anybody who's hearing this message for the first time, you have an amazing ability to heal if you simply put the right food in your mouth. So I'm here to kind of help spread that message and support this community. This is like my family, and I'm sure Jeff felt the same way.
Yeah. I love that, Dr. Hampton. And I just want to say real quick, it's incredible what you're doing because you're actually in the trenches and helping people that are coming in to see their doctors. And the other thing I wanted to mention is Jeff was just so appreciative. I think it was Thanksgiving Day. Dr. Tony Hampton put together a presentation regarding cancer. And we've had presentations before from Professor Seyfried, which is great. But Dr. Hampton, besides being a doctor, you're an incredible teacher. And Jeff was so thankful for that presentation you put together. I was too, because when you talk to Professor Seyfried, he's great, but we're talking about mitochondria and we're using a lot of big words. And some of that goes over our heads. And you really simplified it. It was like, made it all make sense. Jeff said after that call, he was like, that was the best doctor call like I've ever had. So he was so appreciative of that. And just for everyone watching, Dr. Hampton has very generously put together carnivore diets and cancer presentation we're going to be sharing on this call as well, with some more insights into Jeff's journey with carnivore and cancer. So that'll be coming up soon. So thank you for that, Dr. Hampton. Anthony Haydick, how's it going, my friend?
Going pretty well, Carrie. Thanks for having me on. I'm super excited for the presentation of Dr. Hampton's coming up. Just because and people that don't know me, I have stage 4 GIST cancer living inside of me. And I am now 13 and a half months on carnivore, and the cancer is controlled. I'm actually having success shrinking tumors, and I've been actually off Western medicine treatment, like oncologist treatment, since January 31st of 2023. And so through learning diet, exercise, proper food, I've been able to either get worse or get better by taking care of myself or not taking care of myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And Anthony started his own YouTube channel. Anthony is an inspiration as well. It's awesome what you're doing. I did a video with Anthony as well. So looking forward to talking to you some more. I know Jeff was a big inspiration on your journey. I think like that's kind of how you figured out this stuff was through a Jeff to Prosperis video. Is that right?
A lot of what I've been implementing into my own regimen is from a Jeff. Yes. I didn't even want to do carnivore at all because I'm 33 now, but in my age group, we were always told, you know, red meat causes cancer. And so that was the last diet I wanted to try. And then a friend of mine sent me a video of Jeff, you know, blessings on my journey, doing chemo, fasting, carnivore, the whole 9 yards. I'm like, well, if this guy's doing everything with chemo, what's my excuse not to try it? And so I went from, I think I was ketovore at that time. We just went hardcore on the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs only. And 3 months later, the cancer growth had slowed down dramatically. And I thought it was a fluke. I was like, oh, it's a bad scan. Did another 3 months and it showed, you know, no growth at all. I'm like, oh, well, let's just see what happens. And here we are 13 months later with carnivore and other stuff. Fasting is definitely beneficial. I will say the biggest admirable thing with Jeff is how well and easy he made fasting look. 55 times doing that for 5 days fast that's incredible to me. I struggle doing 3-day fast once a month.
Right. Dwight and I were talking about that the other day. I'm like, that's got to be some sort of record. Like, that's uncharted territory. Someone doing that many fasts over and over again. I don't know if I could have done it. I did a couple with Jeff, but I don't know if I could have done that many. But Anthony, what's also awesome about you is just your energy. Like, you're hitting the gym and you're growing muscle. And it was kind of funny in the little video we did. You're like, I gained 20 pounds. I don't know if that's mostly ego or muscle or what's going on there.
Yeah. Some of it's a little bit of both sometimes, but that's one thing I had a big discussion with Jeff in one of the live streams I did with him as a guest is most cancer patients don't look like how me and Jeff did or do, you know. If in the very beginning of your tribute video of Jeff till the very end, in my opinion, it looked like Jeff was looking better and better, you know, bigger, stronger, glowing different. You know, he was always admirable for his, you know, his attitude, how he loved and inspired everybody. But it seems like the longer he went on with carnivore and his regiment, the more powerful he became.
Yeah. I agree. When Adam and I went to film him too, I think I asked him at one time, I'm like, if the doctors didn't tell you you had cancer, would you even know now other than, you know, getting chemotherapy and stuff? He's like, no. He said, I feel better than I ever have my entire life at 44 years old with stage 4 cancer, having just fasted for 5 days. This moment right now, I've never felt better my entire life. I'm like, wow, that's incredible.
And I could relate to that. And I'm, you know, 10 years younger than him.
Right.
You know, it's wild. It's crazy on how well you just feed yourself.
Right.
I want to put up a comment for Anthony. Lisa Gates says, because of Anthony, I switched from vegetarian to carnivore. We have the same disease.
Hi, Lisa.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
That ripple effect's crazy, Anthony. You put those YouTube videos out there. Could change the
we
world.
were talking about that too, right, Carrie? We were talking about the ripple effect the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Jeff for it, you know, in my mind, on my end of things anyway.
So the ripple even started from Dr. Hampton there. I was watching his videos before before I started helping Jeff, right? It's just crazy how watching Dr. Tony's videos, and then he talked highly about all you guys. And, you know, for me, I'd know none of you if it wasn't for Jeff. Right.
Right. Yeah. That whole ripple effect's crazy. I wish that's something you could trace back or track back, because it's just nuts how it spreads, and other people do it and other people do it. So awesome. Good stuff. So Ronnie Campbell, how are you? Speaking of heroes,
I am good. Just got home from my conference, which was an excellent conference. It was all with cancer patients, cancer survivors, and the pharma. It was an excellent. It just put the fire on me. I've got a lot to advocate for and things I need to do to help others.
right? Ronnie, could you just briefly, Ronnie's been on my channel before if you want to hear the whole story, and you should. She's also written a book, but Ronnie has an incredible story of her own. Could you maybe briefly tell us a little bit about your journey?
Yeah. I was always active. I was marathon runner, a triathlete. In 2018, after just a regular colonoscopy, they found I had a cancerous tumor. So I had surgery. And when they had surgery, they had found, they removed part of my colon because I had cancer. They removed some of my lymph nodes, and they found a satellite tumor on my omentum, which is the netting that goes around your stomach. So after the surgeon told me that, and everything was cancerous, that I was stage 4 and that I would need chemotherapy. So the following couple weeks later, I went to the oncologist at the cancer clinic, and he said, I think the surgeon did a really good job, but I think we'll do another CAT scan to see whether he got all the cancer. And at that next CAT scan, it had already spread to my liver and my lungs. So now it was in 5 spots. So I was given 6 months, no treatments, 2 years with treatments, with chemotherapy. And that was just to give me a better quality of life. I was palliative. I was, never going to get rid of the cancer. So I opted for chemotherapy, and I also reached out to a naturopathic doctor, which Jeff also went to. And with doing both conventional and naturopathic, I was cancer-free in 2020. So it just, goes to show you, if you do things and work at it, you can beat cancer. And I think Jeff was on a route to do that. So,
Right.
And now I'm carnivore. So, and I too feel amazing. I feel better than I ever have. And I do promote the carnivore diet. If I had cancer today, I would do that diet. So,
right. Ronnie's incredible as well. Ronnie, Jeff, myself, Professor Seafried, we did this cancer roundtable video about a year ago, and it inspired a lot of people. And I think I showed it in that video. It's got almost 1 million views, but more importantly, it's helping people. It's giving people hope, where people are reaching out to Professor Seafried and they want to learn more about metabolic therapy. But also a lot of kind of an unexpected thing happened. People would call and they would say, I want to talk to Ronnie Campbell. I want to talk to Jeff de Prosperis. I have this type of cancer. I want to talk to someone that has that cancer. That could be very demanding and overwhelming, especially for Jeff going through cancer. But he did many, many Zoom calls, and Ronnie has done so many Zoom calls, individual coaching, consulting, putting people on a path, leading to Professor Seafried, talking to them, helping them. And then you're doing these conferences and everything else. It's just incredible what you're doing, Ronnie.
It's like Jeff, you just want to help other people because you've been through it and you just want to help and support, because I don't think there's enough out there. And so, that was one of the things that I learned this weekend at this conference, that, I've got to be a stronger advocate and reach out to the cancer clinic and help more. Because when you get diagnosed, you need support. You need to know there's somebody out there. And some cancer clinics do that, but the one here doesn't. And there's a lot that don't. And cancer people need support. They need to have people to support them and to mentor them, right? So that will be my job for the next little while. Now that I've got all this new information, it was actually very good. And I put a little bit of a fire under me to, be a better advocate than I have been.
That's awesome. So we put together a cancer action plan. Jeff and I worked on this quite a bit. Ronnie as well. There's a whole bunch of resources, regimens, links to Professor Seyfried's work, links to the awesome presentation that Dr. Hampton did with us on Thanksgiving. It's like a free cancer action plan, but we were trying to get 1 million signatures with the goal of someone that's diagnosed with cancer having metabolic therapy as an additional tool in their toolbox. Not the goal of saying everyone that gets cancer has to do what Jeff did or what Ronnie did, but just so they have this as a tool in their toolbox. So if people want to sign that, it's completely free to sign. The cancer action plan is completely free. I just put a link in the chat, and I think there's a link in the description as well for that. So thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Alia, we talked about you a little bit. I just got to shout out Alia real quick. Alia was a big reason that I even met Jeff because the 24-hour live stream is how I met Jeff. And Alia was a big proponent and a big pusher of the 24-hour live stream. So Alia has her own YouTube channel as well, and she's pretty awesome. So I don't know if you want to say anything else, Alia, but I just want to say a big thank you.
You're so welcome. And I hope that we can raise some funds tonight for Jeff and his family. I want to say cancer sucks. I'm sorry. I know I don't have cancer, but literally one of my very good friends just died yesterday, and she didn't tell anybody. And so her family knew, and we just found out as a surprise, And so I just want to say we need to teach more people about how they can live a healthy way, how we can possibly reverse cancer through a carnivore diet, if possible, if it's caught early enough. Because it doesn't just obviously it affects you, Anthony. I have no idea what you're going through. I can't even imagine. But then when you pass, how it affects everybody else. So if we could just have a solution or catch it early enough and do something early enough so we can defeat this disastrous thing. That's all. I don't sound very inspiring. I'm sorry. I just found this out yesterday, and so I wanted to mention it because this is what this is about, 100%. So I hope on the fundraising side, we have a goal to help this family raise $50,000 Canadian dollars, and it's about $5,700. I would love if we could do that tonight. It would just help them so much. There you go. That's all I'm saying for today. Usually I'm a lot more cheerful.
No, that's great.
Go fund me.
I'm sorry to hear about your loss, Alia.
No, thank you.
I just want to add to that too, in terms of honoring Jeff. I think that's a big thing too, is what about prevention? What about if we ate a proper human diet from birth? What would it look like for cancer? I am not a doctor. I'm just a homesteader. But what I have learned, this is my own personal belief. I believe a lot of the cancers in the world right now are caused from chronic inflammation. And I believe most of the world is chronically inflamed from the foods we're eating. So a part of the reason I'm still doing carnivore, even though I've got down in weight, overcame depression, anxiety, is that long-term thing, avoiding having that chronic inflammation that could lead to cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's, all sorts of things like that. I think that was a part of the message that Jeff was trying to get out. And maybe we covered that a little bit more in the documentary you guys will see as well. But JT, my good friend, I just want to say before I shout out JT, Poco Moonshine family, Jeff absolutely loved you, JT. And when I had to call you, I'm going to start crying right now. When I had to call you to tell you about the news of Jeff passing, it's one of the hardest calls I've ever had to make, because I know how much you love Jeff as well. So
yeah, it was a tough call, but but I just want to say nice to meet you, Dwight, Ronnie, and Anthony. And Tony, you're still rooting for the Bears. I still love you. So. But it's nice here to be with you guys. It really is. But yeah, that was tough. But when I look at Jeff and think of Jeff, my name's JT from Poco Moonshine family. Sorry, you guys. Carrie just got me all emotional. He just does that every time, and he wants me to talk. Jeff, he beat cancer's ass so bad. You guys have no idea. He didn't lose. He won by not letting cancer control him, by not keeping him in fear or shame or anything like that. This dude put himself out there in the biggest way on YouTube, And in the bigger way for the documentary, now that is going to be the win of all wins. Okay. He's going to help so many people destroy cancer. This dude, it's like those big arc shots, you know, they really go up high and it takes a while to come down. Jeff put up a shot so high, he didn't see it come down, but he's going to see it come down. And that thing's going to be nothing but net. And it was beautiful to watch. And blessings on my journey. He considered me a blessing. He was a blessing.
Yeah. Thank you, JT. Adam, buddy.
Howdy, everyone. Carrie, I just want to say thank you for putting this together. You know, it was watching the video just prior to this got me kind of emotional. I'm going to try to rein it in for this one. So if anybody doesn't know me, I'm Adam with Carnivore Today, joined forces with Carrie, and we've been on one heck of a ride this past year, right, Carrie?
Yeah.
And I say ride because it almost seems like, you know, all of this, as Bill Knott says, is providence, and things are just falling into place. And even with this sad news with Jeff, I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And just like JT was saying, Jeff's story and his journey and his whole attitude of wanting to help others, I think, is going to come out in this documentary in such a profound way that's going to inspire so many. And yeah, I'll turn it over from there before I lose it, Carrie. So thank you so much for putting this together.
No, thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. And I agree 100%. So the video that we put together, it was an honor to put that video together for Jeff. It was a little hard because we were trying to stick to just the YouTube video clips. The stuff that we're doing in the documentary kind of has to be unique to the documentary, but all credit to Jeff. Jeff was so excited about healing humanity. I remember when the name came out and we showed him the shirts, he was so fired up about all of it. But I truly believe that his words and his story and his inspiration in that documentary are going to inspire millions of people. I have no doubt about it whatsoever. So thank you guys so much for the intro. I want to go around and maybe share a little bit about Jeff's, what we found, blessings on my journey, what sort of blessings, memories, thoughts of Jeff. But maybe first, Dr. Hampton, if we could jump into the presentation you put together. I think everyone would like to see that.
Absolutely. I am, again, privileged to be here. This is my community. This is my family. And I just love that I've been given the privilege of, you know, first of all, being a doctor. Who knew, right? I grew up in a tough neighborhood on the west side of Chicago, and magically I managed to get through that and find myself in this beautiful field. And I always felt like I was going to be a healer, but I didn't really fully understand that until I discovered that the food was the medicine. And when I went to the metabolic rally, that we just had, and I actually have my shirt on, you can kind of see it. Me and Nina Teischo's, Eric Westman, and others are just really trying to get this message out. And it's a privilege. So for me, this is family. And I want you guys to know that taking a little time to be with you guys tonight is a privilege for me. So, but as we kind of start this presentation, similar to what I did previous, but it's really to help those who didn't see the presentation previously at a high level to understand why would Jeff decide that a carnivore diet is a way to heal. And it seems the opposite of what he should do, especially for a colon cancer, because we've been told for years, don't eat red meat because it causes colon cancer. But I think Jeff is even though it's anecdotal, and I'll prove you that it's not anecdotal, he's proven to us that you can actually use this diet to heal. So the opposite of what the mainstream is saying. And it's just been a privilege to interact with Jeff. I remember when we did that video, that live stream, he inspired all of us. And he is just his legacy will live on, and is doing it right now. And his family should be proud of him for what he's achieved. So let's kind of walk through a few slides that I think will help you understand where I'm going with this. As you know, it was teed up by Carrie that Jeff was given 3 months to live, but he defied the odds and lived 30 months. Now, as you can, if you do the math, that's 30 times longer. And that's really important, because if you think about 30 months, right? I mean, you're talking about, if you do the math, that's like 2,000, 219,000 hours that he had to spend with his family that he was told he wouldn't have. So now he has more time to love them, more time to guide them as a father, give them wisdom. I saw some of his videos on his YouTube channel. I encourage you to check out his channel. More time to make videos, more time to travel. I mean, I saw him doing that stuff in the gym. I did see some of that video, Carrie, and it was just so inspirational to see this guy doing what many people who don't have cancer are doing. He created a legacy in a short amount of time. But more importantly, and which is why I'm kind of presenting this to you, he created hope for all of us. He gave us hope that, yes, if I get this diagnosis, which for many sounds like a death sentence, there's a way to go beyond that death sentence. And if you think about what we're saying that there's some scientific evidence to support the decision he made to move towards a diet where you eliminate carbs. So there was a study done in the Journal of Clinical Oncology that looked at this. Now, this is a keto study for stage 4 colon cancer, but guess what? Carnivore diet is a keto diet. So basically, although we need to do more studies with carnivore, we can lean on the keto studies right now, because this is a version of the keto diet. So in this study, they found that keto and chemo increased the survival of people who took that approach. Now, Jeff just proved to you that that's real. The problem is the medical community have blinders on, and they have no clue. And I doubt very seriously that most people in this country, in the US, are being advised to consider this dietary pattern, although the science does support it. So, and if you look at this, a lot of times you hear about these stories and you think, well, this is not going to be my story or my family's story. But guess what? 1 in 3 people will develop cancer. Think about that. 1 in 3 people that you know and love will have some form of cancer in their lifetime. And it is projected that it may become the leading cause of death in the United States and worldwide. So, and what we're learning, and I'm so grateful that we're learning this, that one of the main reasons for that is because now we consider cancer a metabolic disease. And as you know, the fact that it's metabolic gives us hope, because it allows us to have a way to deal with it. And thankfully, the way we deal with it is through what we put in our mouth. Now, the number 1 cause of death is currently heart disease. Cancer is number 2. And I want you guys to, I'll circle back to this. I want you to tell me what you think number 3 is. It's going to surprise you. So in the comments, put in the comments what you think is the number 3 cause of death. And it's going to surprise you. And as we move forward with the rest of the presentation. So let's look at what the causes of cancer are. And this is good news, guys, because the causes of cancer are things that we can do something about. We were thinking about things like the environment we live in, pollution, insulin resistance is a lot about what this diet is going to help us with, how we eat, lack of exercise. You saw Jeff in the, if you had a chance to see the video, he was exercising. That's really helpful. And obviously toxins that come from things like smoking. These are all modifiable risk factors and things that we can do something about. Our babies should not be drinking juice all day. Our babies shouldn't be drinking smoothies all day. It's nothing but a big bowl of sugar. And if we remove that out of their lives, maybe down the road when they get older, they won't succumb to cancer as well. I put this in front of you because I think it's important that we understand this is not a man disease, this colon cancer thing. This is both men and women. As you can see, it's the third leading cause of cancer for both men and women. So it's really important to put that in front of you. And truth be told, even lung cancer is not only half the people with lung cancer are smokers. Think about that. And that's another reason for you to think, well, maybe there's something else going on except for the toxin of smoking is harmful, but half those people never smoked. And that should make you pause and say, there's something else going on. And I would argue is poor metabolic health. So as you know, there are limitations of the traditional treatment. The traditional treatment is always surgery, chemo, and radiation, right? And although we do need that, and as it was mentioned earlier, in combination with lifestyle change, it's important that you understand that that's not the only way. And let's think about some of the limitations that are now in this slide. So if you're having surgery, what's going to happen? You're going to have to deal with pain. You're going to be very tired. You may get an infection. You may even get a blood clot. Well, if you're dealing with chemo, again, it's going to make you tired. You're going to lose hair. You may be nauseated. You may vomit. You may even get like a neuropathy where your nerves are bothering you. What about radiation? Same thing. Fatigue, hair loss, difficulties swallowing, and other side effects. So although we may need these modalities, if we have a lifestyle approach that assists us, it's likely you won't need as much chemo. You won't need as much radiation, and you may not need it at all depending on the type of cancer. And at the end of the day, the last bullet point is important. Chemo and radiation targets rapidly dividing cells. And so the stem cells, which are just kind of chilling, those stem cells are not going to be affected at all, which is one of the reasons why people tend to have recurrence of cancer, because it's not really addressing the entire milieu. So that's something that's really important to understand. And so this slide talks about the importance of understanding this ideal of stem cells and the role they play. And at the end of the day, chemotherapy does not really impact them in a significant way. And because chemotherapy is so toxic to the body, it can actually increase inflammation, and angiogenesis just means you're going to grow all these blood vessels because the cancer cells are growing so rapidly, your body makes more blood vessels, but that can cause problems as well. And chemo is toxic to all fast-growing cells. And I'll pause there and say, listen, what are fast-growing cells? They're kind of obvious when you think about the side effects of chemo. You think about hair loss. That means the hair cells are fast-growing. It doesn't seem like it until you're combing your hair. And then you realize every time you comb your hair, especially if it's long, you got hair in your hands, right? Your hair cells have to grow really rapidly for you to maintain your hair. The bone marrow is going to be affected. So a lot of times when you're getting chemo, you'll find that those white cells and all those little cells in your body that deal with your immune system, they're going down in number because they're fast growing as well. Many of you are aware that your hemoglobin lives for like 90 days, right? That's why we do a hemoglobin A1C, and it's a 90-day measure of the glucose on your hemoglobin. Well, that's pretty rapid going. That's something that's going to constantly be rebuilt. Your gastrointestinal tract. Why do we get nausea and vomiting? Because your GI tract has fast-growing cells. And then, of course, on your skin, a lot of people getting chemo, they also get rashes and irritation of their skin. And of course, your reproductive organs are affected as well. So although we need chemo as part of our treatment plan, we have to be careful to understand that they are toxic to the body and some of the cells that they're going to target. And Jeff, actually, if you listen to him, he fasted a lot. And that's really cool because when you fast, and fasting before chemo is a thing too. In fact, an author by the name of Tentenborn wrote a book, Hacking Chemo. And in that model, you fast before chemo because when you do that, you put your healthy cells to sleep because you're fasting. But the cancer cells never go to sleep. So now the chemo will target those fast-growing cancer cells while your healthy cells are sleeping, therefore reducing the side effects. And in many cases, you can use less chemo and be just as effective. But again, these are the things that a conventional doctor has not learned. And of course, we realize that chemo is very expensive as well. That last little bullet point there. Now, metabolic disease. This is the type of stuff we're learning, that cancer is a metabolic disease, meaning that our mitochondria is defective. And the mitochondria, as you know, is the powerhouse of the cell. And what they find is that if you have a defective mitochondria, you're likely to have cancer risk that's higher. And what you find is that a lot of the cancer cells have very defective mitochondria. So that's a completely different concept. Most conventionally trained doctors think it's genetics only. And if it's true that the mitochondria is the source of cancer, defective mitochondria, the mitochondria depends on glucose as well. And at the end of the day, when you have restriction of glucose, you may be able to do yourself a big favor when it comes to cancer. So I just want to put Dr. Seyfried's book in front of you. We've mentioned his name many times. For those who have family members who are battling cancer and they're looking for answers, they absolutely need to be aware of his book. And also this other book called Tripping Over the Truth. So I just wanted to put that in front of you guys, because at the end of the day, we want to provide our families with resources, because we're kind of rushing through this, but we want to know what do we circle back and look at that's going to help us in our family. So again, starving the cancer cells is the goal, because cancer cells primarily survive on glucose as their fuel. So although there are many people in the world who believe that a plant-based diet is the way to go, if you're saying to me that glucose is their primary fuel, that's not very logical. And it wasn't logical when they told you that colon cancer was caused by a steak, which is basically not going to create all of this glucose. It's the opposite. It's going to, in turn, put you into a ketogenic state. And when you're in ketosis, you're starving your cancer cells. So any keto diet is going to reduce your risk for cancer. And so that plate you see to the right is a plate you don't want to eat if you are dealing with cancer or trying to prevent cancer. So stem cells, as I mentioned before, are slow growing. Chemo targets the fast growing cells, and we must target the stem cells. So the question becomes, how do we do that? Now, when I created my Protecting Your Nest podcast, many of you may not know that that podcast acronym has a nest and a rope. And if you look at this tree, this is the functional medicine tree that I learned about in my master's for nutrition and functional medicine training. So if we look at the end, the nest, right, the nutrition. So we know nutrition is a factor. These are the roots. So if your roots are sick, right, then what is the tree going to look like? And I think what we do in conventional medicine is that we treat the cancer by pruning the tree. So we give chemo and radiation, and we do a good job with the top of the tree, but we don't deal with the root causes. And because in healthcare in most countries, including America, we don't deal with the root cause. So that's why I came up with this nest and rope. We have to deal with nutrition. We deal with the E for exercise. That's why Jeff was exercising. The S's are for sleep and stress, that you see to the left. And then we deal with the T. If you had trauma in your life, the trauma of losing a friend, which happened to Alia, you got to recover from that, right? And then your thoughts have to be in a way that serves you. You have to have positive thoughts. And I learned from my losses, and I move forward in a positive way. And then the rope talks about, to the left at the bottom, you see relationships. That's the R, right? If we're in all the relationships we have tonight and moving forward and in the past, those relationships that serve us, we hold on to those. And if we have relationships that don't serve us, we move away from those. It's not just about diet, guys. All of these factors matter. And then the rope also has an O and a P. That really reflects that toxins. I don't want to have organisms and pollutants that can harm me. And then the E is really more about protecting your emotions and making sure your life experiences serve you. So I wanted to put that in front of you, because I don't want anybody to walk away from this conversation thinking carnivore is the answer. It's bigger than carnivore, guys. It's carnivore plus all this other stuff, which is why Jeff was doing so many things beyond carnivore. Rather, he was dipping in that cold ice like Kevin Hart and him and Carrie did, which is crazy. All of these things challenge your body and makes it stronger. So don't focus on one thing, focus on multiple things. Now, some lifestyle factors that we're going to talk about briefly and supplements I'm going to give you in a moment. But I just want to say, you may have never heard this statistic, but you see what it says, guys. Only 5 to 10% of cancers are genetic. Now, that's a perplexing statement because you've been told your whole life, and me as a doctor, same thing, cancer is a genetic disease. How could that be true if you don't believe me, in fact, I challenge some of you guys who have a moment on your phone, just Google it right now and say what percentage of cancers are genetic, and put in the comments what you're finding. And you're going to probably find 5 to 10%. That means that 90% are not. That should make you pause. The good news is that lifestyle factors play a bigger role, including insulin resistance and processed foods and sugary drinks that we give our babies, thinking we're doing something for them, giving them that juice, right? Lack of exercise. In the Midwest, where the Bears play, threw that out at JT. Listen, people don't exercise. And that's a problem. So we got to start moving. I had to get a trainer just to be consistent with this. And I'll give you one more quick example. In America, we literally allow our companies to put all these additives into our processed food. And it's really sad. I mean, those dyes, there are certain dyes like yellow 5, yellow 6. There's, I think, the red 40. They won't even allow those things in other countries. There's some titanium dioxide that's used to whiten your candies and the gum that we chew. They won't even allow that in other countries. And even something called potassium bromate, I learned in my training, that they use for like dough, for bread. They won't even allow that in other countries. So we really have a problem, guys, in that in this country, in the good old US of A, we allow ourselves to poison our citizens, and we have to do better. That's why we have to have a revolution, guys. So anyway, I'll say to you that the things we don't want are the omega-6s, the preservatives and additives, as I've just suggested, and we want to get our lifestyle in order. Now, here's another study I'll briefly, and this is a very interesting study. I would walk away with this, and this is a to-do for everybody. Imagine a study, a randomized trial that showed that simply adding vitamin D3, I would always do vitamin D3 with K2. That's a new thing because the K2 will usher the calcium that's being absorbed better away from your arteries, away from your joints into your bone where they should be. Omega-3, not the omega-6s, so a quality omega-3, and exercise. Just by simply doing those 3 things, you can reduce your risk for cancer by 60%. Shocking. So if you walk away with anything today and the other supplements I mentioned are not for you, at least consider that. I do omega-3 anyway because of the fact that I don't eat a lot of fish. I eat a lot of steak. And then I do vitamin D because I don't get enough sun in Chicago and I have darker skin. So I have to supplement with that anyway. And now I'm exercising consistently. So I would encourage all of you guys to do that. So here's the study, just for those who want to circle back and look that up. Quality study, you see it says randomized trial, which is the highest level of evidence, is telling us that something so simple. And again, these are targeting the stem cells, guys. That's why we're talking about supplements, because chemo radiation does not target the stem cells. Now, let's look at some more evidence. And this is the part where you want to kind of hold on to, what do I do? I'm related to Jeff. He's in my family. I'm concerned about getting cancer. I have a family member. I have a lifestyle that I'm concerned about. What do I do? So the evidence was looked at, and all the peer review papers were looked at. We looked at, they looked at drugs. They looked at everything. What should we think about besides diet? And the first thing you want to think of, this is the page for prevention. So this is the page you hold on to. We talked about the first 2 at the top, which should be obvious by now. And then for those who tolerate green tea, I do not, so I don't supplement with that. And melatonin, these things that you see on this slide, vitamin D, omega-3, green tea extract, and melatonin are the 4 supplements that you take for cancer prevention if you feel there's a high risk of cancer in your family. The thing that you want to think about if you're a really high risk is metformin. Now, I'm not a big, as you could imagine, a metabolic health doc's not a big fan of medication. I do not take metformin personally, but you need to know that when they looked at the evidence, it showed that this particular drug being repurposed for cancer is known to reduce your risk for cancer. So I'm always on the fence with medicines, but I just want to put the evidence in front of you. A lot of the longevity experts have been fans of metformin. It's kind of in favor, then it's out of favor, but I just want you to know that that's the only medicine for prevention. Now let's go to the other category. This is for Jeff. This is the stuff Jeff was focused on. This is for people who are actually being treated for cancer. Now, I should have had keto on the other slide as well. Keto or carnivore, obviously, is going to be good for prevention too. But for treatment, you absolutely have to starve the cancer cells. So you have a diet that'll starve the cancer cells, and keto or carnivore will get the job done. Jeff was doing time-restricted eating, which is fasting. That's going to obviously, again, put the healthy cells to sleep and then let the body deal with the cancer cells more effectively, because cancer cells do not go to sleep. Moving your body, not over-exercising, but making sure you're moving the body and getting enough sleep. That's really sleep is a tough one for a lot of people because we're so busy, but we absolutely are going to be more productive if we have a schedule. We sleep well, and then we get up, we can run like a racehorse. So that's the first set, and then here's more. We're going to reintroduce the vitamin D, the omega-3, the green tea, and the melatonin. So the same stuff that was for prevention, obviously, is also for treatment. And then we're going to bring along the curcumin. And again, these are things that you have to be careful with, because when you're carnivore, you may get irritated by these things. But I consider supplements as like medicine in a way. So if I'm trying to treat a specific thing, rather short term or not, I think it's okay to consider those things. But again, you have to tolerate it. And sometimes carnivores don't tolerate these plants. Having said that, we bring back metformin, and mebendazole may be familiar to you because that's a drug that's used for worms. So you see that a lot in other countries. But again, it's a drug that has been repurposed for cancer prevention. So I'll give you those. So those are the things you want to think about. If you're in a situation, you're learning about Dr. Seyfried and others, you're hearing Jeff's story, and you're like, what can I do? How can it be actionable? And that's kind of what Jeff did for us. He left us a gift. He left us this gift. Now, I want to circle back really quickly and just remind you that cancer cells rely on glycolysis. You have a cell, you have the cytosol, which is the fluid around, and then you have the mitochondria. But outside where the cytosol is where cancer cells do this anaerobic. They don't even need oxygen glycolysis, and they convert glucose to lactate. And when the mitochondria is not functioning well in cancer cells, they can't really get their energy from there. But more importantly, glycolysis is quick. Cancer cells need quick energy. And although they don't get a lot of ATP from this process versus oxidative phosphorylation, which is more efficient, they use this process. But again, the key message here is that glycolysis is dependent on glucose, which is why cancer cells only can thrive in a high glucose environment. So if you have a high carb diet and you eat a lot of that type of food, high glycemic, you're going to struggle with cancer. And guess what? If you go into the hospital, what are they going to give you? Juice, oatmeal, cereal, grits, toast, and they call that a healthy diet. And all you're doing in that setting is feeding cancer. If they give you an IV with some type of, they call it parenteral nutrition, what are they giving you? Nothing but sugar. So we have a problem, Houston. We have a problem, and we have to get this message out so that we can be more holistic. So when we treat cancer, we can not just focus on the right medicine, but we can focus on the holistic nature of starving cancer and giving people a balanced life, whether it's meditation, whether it's massage, all the other things that you need to heal. So we need chemotherapy, guys. This is not a conversation about not doing chemo. We just want to do chemo, if necessary, with the right nutritional therapy. Doing chemo without nutrition, to me, is setting yourself up for failure because you won't target the stem cells. All the supplements I mentioned, the diet, keto, and carnivore I mentioned, is to target the stem cells. I want to say that clear and loud. That's why we went through that, because if you don't target the stem cells, you're going to probably get a recurrence if you had cancer, and you're going to put yourself at increased risk if you don't have it yet. And then lastly, surgery. We need surgery, guys. There's nothing wrong with surgery, but I mentioned many of the side effects that are out there. If you're blessed to have a cancer, unlike Jeff, where you can just get the cancer out and it hasn't spread, you absolutely want to benefit from conventional medicine and do that. But again, if you do that and you want to heal well and you want to do well afterwards, you want to do the dietary patterns to go along with it. Because if you don't start doing the things to help you heal that probably you weren't doing that led to the cancer in the first place, you're really going to find yourself in the same place later. So at the end of the day, I wanted to put that in front of you guys to provide hope. This is what Jeff has done. He's given us hope. He's inspired me, because now I want to kind of yell from the rooftops so that we can have more people who won't get cancer. And for those who get cancer, they'll have more time with their family. And I know, as a man who has a 25 and a 27-year-old at home, I'm trying to get them out of my house. I always joke about that. But at the end of the day, they're constantly leaning on me for advice. Even today, my youngest son came to me and asked a question and was asking for advice. So we have a role to play in their lives that's so substantial. And I just am so grateful that Jeff has given us an opportunity to focus on this part of our life, because it's the second leading cause of death, and given us a reason to be hopeful. So I hope all of you guys who have checked us out today appreciate Jeff for what he's done. And I know I do. And I just wanted to put some basic concepts in front of you guys so you can walk away from this discussion, not just with inspiration and celebration of his life, but with some knowledge so you can be actionable and do something about it. So Carrie, all you guys, I appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you. I would do this every day of my life if I could. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Hampton. We really appreciate you getting a lot of really good comments. Everyone's very thankful for you doing this presentation. If anyone on the stream now has any questions, please raise your hand or let me know. I just have one, Dr. Hampton. One of the things is, it seems like these cancers are getting people younger and younger. And despite all the billions of dollars spent on cancer treatment, it doesn't seem to be getting any better. Is there anything people can do proactively in terms of early detection? Because some of these cancers, it seems like they're so brutal for people because you don't realize they're there until they're too far spread around.
Yeah, the tests we have are not perfect, right? So you think about when it comes to young age, we don't have a lot of great tests. We do have women who, at least at the age of 40, should start getting those mammograms. If you are in a family where a lot of the ladies had cancer earlier, let's just say it was 35, then you go 10 years earlier than that and you get yours at 25. Same is true for like a colon test. We've lowered the age from 50 to 45, and young ladies should absolutely be getting a once they're sexually active, a pap smear, and then they do HPV testing. HPV virus is the cause of cervical cancer. So if you have a pap smear and you don't have HPV, you probably won't be getting cervical cancer. In fact, that's why they allow women to sometimes go 2 or 3 years without a pap smear if their HPV is negative. So getting pap smears is an important thing. The guys should also be doing the prostate specific antigen test, the PSA. You can start getting that certainly at 50, but maybe as early as 45. And again, if you have a family history, you should definitely think about that. We have low dose CT scans for people who were previous smokers. If you were a previous smoker, you should absolutely do that. And then for when you think about your family history, that's like really important. So if your family history is saying, yeah, there's an issue with my family history, I need to be concerned about the cancers that's common in my family. If I'm starting to lose weight and I'm not trying to lose weight with keto or carnivore, I should be concerned. Cancer cells take a lot of energy out of your body. So if I'm feeling tired all the time, that should be an issue. You can feel your lymph nodes in your groin and your neck. You should worry about that. You shouldn't be coughing, right? If you're just coughing and you don't know why and you've treated it, you should worry about that. So I just think that at this point, we don't have, that's what we have. And that's why the lifestyle is so important, because if you don't like do the lifestyle, then you're going to find yourself at risk, because we don't have great tests when we're little. Now, you can get genetic tests if you're high risk. So that's something that you need to think about if you see a genetic risk, like BRCA genes, for people who are concerned about breast cancer.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah, Dwight. I think you got to there we go.
Yeah, here we go. Hey, I got a couple of questions for Dr. Hampton, and I don't want to make you feel like I'm not attacking. I want your opinion, I suppose. So, so this first one is for everybody. So I was watching some videos today, which I watch a ton of videos. I was watching, I think the channel was called The Patient Story, and it was about a lady who had lung cancer. And at the end of her clip, she says that she holds up her smoothie and says that she knows, or she heard, that cancers thrive on sugar.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's got to have a little bit of sugar.
No. Yeah, well, I think that even nutrition professionals are being taught that you have to have carbs to serve glucose to live, and you have to get it from external sources. So yes, do you need glucose to live? Sure. But does it have to come from your diet? No. You can get it from protein and fat, which will convert it via gluconeogenesis into glucose for you on demand, which means you're only going to use what you need. And the smoothie, which is probably going to be anywhere from 40 to 60 carbs, is equivalent to 10 to 15 teaspoons of sugar. And you got 1 teaspoon of sugar in your blood right now. It's an overload. And then you're going to store that extra sugar as glycogen in your muscle and in your liver, and obviously as fat. So it's just a misunderstanding of biochemistry. And unfortunately, it's being taught inappropriately to the 2024 graduates of nutrition school. I mean, it's just, when I got my master's in nutrition, I was hearing all kinds of nonsense like this. And I was like, come on, guys. I mean, it should be obvious that you don't have to have. It's all about how you interpret. You got to have glucose to live. Yeah, but you don't have to get it. Where you're getting it from is the real misunderstanding.
Right. I left a little comment on that. I said, no, you don't need to be eating sugar. Your liver will make all the glucose it needs.
Exactly. Thank you for doing that.
The other, where's my other one? Oh, the supplements. People doing chemo. I know that the chemo will affect the digestive system. So should they be taking a little bit more supplement, like compared to the RDA or what even is suggested by, I think the narrative now is anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 international units a day for normal people, healthy people?
The answer is yes and no. You are going to make your gastrointestinal system struggle when it's being attacked. As I suggested, the GI cells will be fast growing and they will be disrupted, right? So your absorptive capacity is going to be impacted, right? However, I think it's it's all about return on investment. So it's important that you get the essential foods, the protein and the fat. So your diet's going to be the primary thing. And then you focus on the supplements that are known to help you fight cancer. Is it okay to take a high quality multivitamin? Maybe it's, food-based to add to that? Sure. But I think I would focus more on the things that have evidence to support them, recognizing that at the end of the day, your priority is to be nourished, but it's more, your bigger priority is to get this cancer under control. So I would focus on that, and then and just be comfortable knowing it's not going to be optimal. No matter how much you supplement, your body's going to struggle while you're fighting cancer. So and again, the big message is it's okay to use supplements as a type of medicine, but you don't have to necessarily do supplements forever, because if you have a high quality diet and a high quality lifestyle, you're probably going to be metabolically healthy, and your body's going to be able to resist most of the things that can harm you.
Right. What's your feelings on using berberine instead of metformin?
If it were because I'm not a big medicine fan, I would probably go in that direction. Yes. Whether it's for diabetes or, cancer. I think I just feel more comfortable with that. I just think that the downstream negative effects of medicine make you nervous. Now, let's be clear. A lot of medicines come from the plant world, right? So I don't want to suggest plants are just harmless. Dr. Chafee would have a fit if I said that, right?
I'm with you. I believe that plants are medicine, and they should be used as a medicine.
Just medicine.
That's it,
That's
right?
the way I see it. Yeah. So
and I believe that a lot of the native history, that's how we viewed plants were as medicine.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's it.
How's about the vitamin Bs? Because a lot of them have a small half-life of 2 hours, some 4 hours, 8 hours, and we need them every day, right? Being a water soluble.
Yeah, I mean, I think vitamin B is. I think most of the vitamins in general you're gonna get them in a better way, more bioavailable, just coming from animal protein in general. But and that's why you got to avoid those toxins, guys, because if you're an alcohol drinker, then thiamine, which is B1, you're not gonna. We supplement those folks who drink alcohol because they're gonna inhibit their B1 absorption, right? But there's B3, which is niacin, and we have other B vitamins like B12 for sure. We think about neuropathy, all these vitamins, even folic acid. I used to deliver babies, and folic acid's a B vitamin, believe it or not. And if you think about all their functions, they're critically important. Again, I think B vitamins are important. I would probably ask the person who's struggling and concerned with their energy level, et cetera, to do a high quality B vitamin for energy. But again, I think that in terms of cancer, I would probably lean towards the other vitamins before I would focus in that area.
Right. Especially on a carnivore diet, right? As long as you're eating enough meat, or eggs, you should be getting.
You're doing fine. Exactly. Yeah, like that little skin around the egg, that little film that has a lot of good vitamins in it too. So don't throw that in the garbage. Eat that too.
I think. Thank you, Dr. Hampton.
No, I appreciate you, Coach. Anybody called Coach, I gotta respect.
Thank you.
Good stuff. I just wanted to say one thing real quick, something that I learned from Jeff that I think is very valuable, and Professor Seyfried, and Jeff's advice, and Professor Seyfried. If you're diagnosed with cancer, I asked Professor Seyfried, what would you do? And his advice was, I would study that particular type of cancer.
Yes.
Because your doctors are good people and they want to help you, but they only have a very limited amount of time. And you have to take it in your own two hands. That was Jeff's biggest advice. You have to create your own plan. Right. You have to take it into your own two hands, because if you don't, they're just going to likely say cancer and go eat and rest and relax. So you really got to make a plan. Speaking of inspiring people, we got to let a couple more people in here that Jeff really loved. It's Ribeye Ranger and Lynn Tucker Carnivore. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey guys.
And we got homesick Buckeye Russ.
Oh.
How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
We're doing great. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, there's a little echo, but I think we're okay.
Oh, okay. The TV's off and everything.
I don't know.
Are you guys
know
hearing
you're-
echo or is it just me?
No, it's an echo to
There's an
us.
echo.
I think I heard it when Russ came on.
That's funny.
I'm sorry.
Let me.
You're in a
Is there still an
stadium.
echo?
Look, it's bound to echo.
Yeah, it's Russ. Russ, I'm gonna just mute you when you're not talking, if you don't mind.
Oh.
Oh,
There's a little echo.
What else?
I think it's-
What else is new?
well,
Anyway, I'm Jim and this is Lynn.
yes, and I really do thank you. I was almost worried to say anything because my story is so personal to me and Jeff, and all this wonderful information. My brother died of stage 4 cancer, and so I really took it on with Jeff as I cared so much about his healing, and I wanted him to so badly to beat this. And he was doing so well and doing everything he possibly could. And he also said that he was going to go to Italy. And so I wrote to him and said, "Oh, Jeff, this is so cool. My mom did extensive genealogy. She had her dad's family back to 1066. And I said, and part of it, the only part I was interested in, because I'm such a jerk, was about the fact that my relative that was a general that was paid for by the Italian people to fight for them married Lady Donina Visconti in 1377. And she was the daughter of the mayor of Milan. And I said, oh, Jeff, he did so well when he was fighting for them that they made this gorgeous, huge fresco in Florence of him. And he was Sir John Hawkwood. And I said, so I don't know what part of Italy you're going to go to, but if you end up in Florence, and you're in that museum, could you just wave hi to John for me? And then a couple days later, he did that video with all of you, and he was doing his 10 push-ups. And just jokingly, I said, well, yeah, 10 push-ups is pretty cool. But, if you really want to step it up, I don't want to tell you what to do. But I do 20 every night before bed. And so that went on. And then the next day, I'm at the kitchen counter and I'm washing dishes. I look up at the TV because I hear my name. And it's Jeff in front of the Colosseum in Rome. And he's going where the gladiators, do their contending. And he's like, and this is for my subscriber, Lynn Tucker. And I'm like, I'm nobody. And you're doing this for me. And you're saying my name on Italian soil in front of the Colosseum. And he did 20 push-ups with his elevated, feet. And I'm going, first of all, my first thought really was, I need to do 25. But then I thought,
she's not competitive or anything. So
I went around the house for 20 minutes going, oh my gosh, thank you. That is so cool. He said my name. He said my name.
And he counted them up, of course, in Italian.
And I used to have an Italian restaurant and friends and walk the beaches of San Diego with my little Walkman tuned into Pavarotti at sunset, and tell me that's not emotional. So
she was walking around for days after that.
I was so
Can you believe
touched.
Jeff said my name in the Coliseum?
For all the things he was going through and for him to think of someone else. And then I thought, Carrie, when you were talking about how people might be mad at God. Well, I wasn't mad at God after that. I was like, God, I've been in marketing a lot in my life. And he's really a good spokesperson. I don't understand any of this. And I'm like, with what he did with Dwight and that protocol and Dr. Seyfried and that protocol. And then the Healing Humanity contribution and getting all of you together. And I'm going, I get it now. That was his mission. And it made it so, and also the mission with me, I'm so strict carnivore because Jeff taught me that you are supposed to make good choices. And I'm going to make good choices in my life and be healthy.
Oh,
Amen.
I love you, Lynn. You guys are awesome. I just want to say, Jeff absolutely loved you. In fact, I think I sent you, he texted me once and he's like, that Lynn Tucker carnivore, can you give me her email? I just love her. I think I sent you a copy of that text. But
Back, Jeff.
Yeah. JT, I got to tell you, I really, really love the analogy of that long arc. That nailed it, buddy. That really did. You got to wait for the arc to finish before you get the points. outstanding. That was just great.
So
Jeff
thank
will see
you
you from
for
heaven,
letting
so
us.
he's gonna see that swoosh. Nothing but net, man. He's
Nothing but net. That's right. Well, I got to tell you, when I think of Jeff, I always look for a little perspective in life. So when I hear any story, whether it's Ronnie's or Anthony's or JT's or Adam's story, when I hear these stories, I try to get a little perspective and I say, all right, well, what would I do in that position? And then, so following Jeff's story, I was saying, what would I do in that position? Then I think of, well, how about the serenity prayer? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The unique thing about Jeff is he bundled all those in there. Well, he skipped past the serenity right off the bat. And he says, no, I'm going right to courage. I'm going right to courage. I'm going to fight this as best I can. I'm going to fight as long as I can. But he knew the wisdom told him, the wisdom to know the difference is he knew he was sick. He still knew he had cancer, of course. But so it was kind of amazing that it was like a ball of power coming out of that guy, because he had all of those elements in there. He was serene because he knows, all right, here's what I have to deal with. Let's go out and deal, just like a coach on a soccer team, you know. All right, we're down by 3 goals. We're down by 3 goals. We got to get back out there and do it together. But I always think that serenity prayer just kind of breaks it up for me in my mind. And he was one courageous Canadian.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
And he was so jacked too. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
exactly.
I don't understand. This is not making sense to me.
Right. But I got to tell you something. That man is he's a catalyst. He's a nucleus now.
Yep.
And this is all synergy around us, all of us together right here. And this is going to go out to thousands and thousands and thousands, and it's going to grow. You guys are talking about the ripple.
Yeah.
Dwight, you guys were talking about the ripple before and all that. And Dr. Hampton, I got to tell you, that presentation, I'm sorry, that should be mandatory for every doctor's continuing education. Just the 20 minutes that you put up there. And I'm sorry, I don't give doctors a break. I know they're nice guys. They're trying. They're educated. They help people.
They don't have time.
They patched me up when I've been injured and sick. I get it. But I am sick and tired of these guys saying, well, nobody told us. We don't know anything about this. You just showed us, and we've learned from Jeff and everybody here. Glucose feeds cancer.
So
don't give cookies.
Yes.
Don't give Ensure. Don't give Gatorade. I mean, that hits me to my core after I saw how simple and clear and concise your presentation was. I'm getting angry at the end. Angry and hopeful at the same time. I guess that's the only way I can put it. I'm passionate. I'm not angry at you. I'm very hopeful, and I love the tree. That was my favorite graphic.
That was really good.
So thank you all, you guys. I don't want to take up your time, but I got to thank you guys.
And thank you, Dr. Hampton, for being a healer.
Yep.
Thank you. And the American Diabetes Society, led by Ken Berry, we're going to do our best to. In fact, I just got an email a couple of days ago saying that we've been asked to speak at places. So we're going to start to spread this message, and we're going to try to go to those conventional organizations to get this message out. So we are going to do that hard work of reaching people that have not heard this message. So I appreciate that.
Oh, outstanding.
Thank you so much.
Anthony and Ronnie.
Yes.
I love you guys, man. Thank you for
coming
forward.
You can do this, in the words of a great man.
That's right. Coming forward and telling your stories. And now, Dr. Hampton, I'm sorry, I know you have no control over this, but Ronnie's story and Anthony's story, it's documented because every prescription they ever had, every session they ever had, every drug that ever went into their system, every doctor's order is a file. And this should be research. Every person like this who goes up and says, you know what, doc, I'm going to try something different. And I hope you document my carnivore journey or my keto journey, because I'm going to try to fight this cancer with you and with science. Yeah. And you should be documenting every word I say right now. Every doctor should have to do that. I know you don't have control over it, but come on, man, step it up.
As if you haven't done enough already.
Oh, we love you guys.
Yeah. So
thank you, Ronnie, Anthony, Dwight, everybody. Adam,
and
thank
Russ,
you so much.
Thank you for your patience.
Russ, thank you for your echo. I love the stadium.
Yes.
I got to tell you.
And your words on that little documentary.
Your message to Jeff, that is inspiring. Yep. That is equally inspiring. I'm sitting there tearing up. I say, why am I tearing up, man? This guy's a joker, but you're not a joker. You're a quality human inside, brother.
You mentioned humility.
Humility is everything.
That made it for me.
Right.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you both. We love you guys. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks,
Hi,
my
Adam.
friends.
Okay.
All right.
JT.
See you guys.
See ya.
See ya. And
See you guys.
if anyone has to jump off, no worries. We understand it's getting kind of late. People jumping in and jumping out, no worries. I just want to say real quick, huge shout out to Russ, Homesick Buckeye. Speaking of people Jeff loved, I was very close with Jeff, and it made Jeff so happy. Homesick Buckeye, the couple of videos that he did with you, I think you know this a little bit, Russ, but maybe not how much you realize it. To be able to put a smile on Jeff's face, he was telling me, Carrie, I wake up every morning, I have stage 4 cancer. I go to bed every night, I have stage 4 cancer. It wears on me. It's hard to laugh when you're going through all of that, and you were able to make him laugh and put a smile on his face. And his boys, it's just incredible. He mentioned you so many times, so really appreciate you, Russ.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I don't know if I have an echo. This is my first ever live stream, so I don't really know how to work.
The echo's gone. Echo's gone. You're all good.
Yeah, so I am glad to be here with most of you. Is that Adam or is that a cardboard cutout of Adam? I can't. It's just hits me every time, that cardboard cutout there. JT was emotional earlier, brother. You hang in there. Anna's gonna let you out of that bedroom, brother. Don't you give up, man. She's gonna let you out of there. You don't have to be, just wipe your tears, brother. I appreciate Dr. Hampton, my man T. Hampton's in the building. Now he's great on the internet, but look, I went to see him one time. I walked in his office. I said, Doc, it hurts when I do this. He always told me, stop doing that. Okay. So I don't know what to tell you about Doc. And that was a great presentation about cancer, although I wasn't paying attention. I'm a Virgo. So when you come out with the Virgo presentation, you can let me know on that. And I watched that. So but seriously, no, it was a blessing. Jeff was a blessing to all of us. And listen, you want to learn something, go to Dr. Hampton's channel. You want to learn absolutely nothing, come over to my channel. That's you learn nothing there, but it's different for everybody. We got a lot of coaches, a lot of great doctors, a lot of great scientists, so much information, and me. So there you go. Just bring in the clowns. If you want ridiculousness, that's what I'm here for, man. That's my gift to the world.
Right. Well, we got a special little clip from Russ. I think maybe we'll show it a little bit near the end of this live stream. Not from Russ, from Reverend IB Low Carbon, which was something very awesome.
Yes. There's a story behind it, and if you play the video, you'll hear the story. So I won't tell the story.
Yeah, we're going to be sharing that. I wanted to take a minute, maybe right now. I don't know if you have one, Russ, or if anyone has a special memory or blessing from Jeff or anything they wanted to share in particular. I just wanted to open the floor up to that. Maybe I'll say mine real quick. The most incredible thing that I learned from Jeff is he was living his life to the fullest potential. And it's kind of sad when you look around in the world, there's a lot of people that they're not diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. They're just kind of calling it in, or they're doing the bare minimum, or they're just kind of getting along. Mm-hmm. But Jeff was living every moment to the fullest potential. Like, he had so much energy. It was incredible. And the other thing that was incredible with Jeff was how much he just wanted to help other people. I kind of highlighted that in the video that we did together, but I think he said like 20 times, I just want to help people. I just want to help people. He's on Dr. Kiltz's channel saying I wanted to help people. And for what purpose? Like, he wasn't monetized on YouTube. He was doing it for no other reason than he was a good person. And he believes that we're put on this earth to help other people. And he really inspired and helped so many people. So my favorite memory of Jeff was in the video. You guys might have seen it earlier when we ordered the 31 hamburgers at McDonald's, because it just cracks me up every time the way Jeff did it with his Canadian politeness and sorry, and it's like a 25-minute conversation at the drive-thru. So those were some things I wanted to share. I guess the last thing I'll say real quick is just, I guess, honoring our bodies. I get a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm doing carnivore, but I'm going to cheat. I'm going to have some ice cream. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Lynn mentioned it earlier that she's very strict on carnivore. I think I am too, sort of for the similar reason as Jeff. You know, he said he would wake up in the morning with stage 4 cancer, go to bed with stage 4 cancer. He would have given anything to have an able body or not have this stage 4 cancer hanging over it. And I think a lot of us go through life taking for granted that we don't have those issues. So that's one of the reasons for myself too, that I'm so strict on carnivore. I don't want to take those things for granted that Jeff wasn't able to. So those are some of my thoughts on Jeff. But if anyone else wants to jump in, please feel free.
I'll chime in. I'm actually, my wife texted me and told me I got to get off the call. So,
Yeah.
And it's really actually because Russ is here. And once I saw Russ, I said, what the hell? I got to go.
Gotta go.
Personal, Russ.
Good.
You know how we roll.
Don't let the door hit you. Don't let the door hit you, brother.
So I'll say this. To me, Jeff is providing a reminder that the current approach we have to help people heal is not working. He reminded us that this recommendation that we have to eat excessive carbs is the wrong recommendation. As he's enjoying those beautiful steaks, he reminded us, as Nina Teichels has taught us, that saturated fat does not increase your risk for cancer. It actually reduces your risk. He reminded us that eating processed food is not a good idea, as he started to eat whole foods that were primarily animal-based. He reminded us not to worry about that elevated cholesterol that may occur with a keto or carnivore diet. He reminded us that you need to look at the individual, and the individual needs to make decisions that are best for the individual. This recommendation to eat grains and sugar, which is part of the dietary guidelines. I mean, they literally, the DASH diet, the dietary approach to stop hypertension, tells us to eat 8 servings of grains every day. Jeff reminded us that that's a ridiculous recommendation. And the last thing I'll say is that he reminded us that this idea that the guidelines tell us to not eat, reduce your protein. Well, he reminded us that he did the opposite. He increases protein. And to me, those reminders and that confirmation that how he ate was the proper human diet is the legacy he's going to leave. So I'm just really grateful for that. And I just thank God that I can preach this word in front of you guys and others and feel confident that it works, because he has shown us that it does work. And those 30 months that, were much better than the 3 months he was promised, allowed him to get that message out. So I'll wrap up my comments with that. Russ, I do love you in a special kind of way.
Call your wife, brother. Call your wife.
Okay. So, and Russ, I love him because he brings humor to this community, and I will always appreciate that. So thanks, guys, for the opportunity. I'll listen in on what you guys have to say, but I'm going to get to the wife before I won't have one. So
thank you so much, Dr. Hampton.
Thanks, guys. Have a great evening. Okay.
Hey, can I say something before you leave, Dr. Hampton?
Yes, please do.
Yes. Okay. So, I kind of got to know each and one of you through Jeff as he was meeting you all, right? And he loved you all. That's what I want to say. He loved you all. He talked about you guys.
Man. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you could have said to me as I depart. So thanks for those words. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right,
And I have to go. Thank you, Dwight, for saying
have a
that.
great session, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
For everyone that wants more Dr. Hampton, I put a link in the description to the presentation that Dr. Hampton put together on Thanksgiving that we did with Jeff and myself. It's a longer version of the one that you just saw. And just because this is a live stream, some people don't understand this, but you can always rewatch this one later. But if you want to see the full one, actually, I linked to the one on Dr. Hampton's channel, because everyone should go subscribe to Dr. Hampton's channel. He's doing some great work over there. So that is in the description below. So anyone else want to say anything?
Yeah, I'll say something. So first of all, I'll start off with this. One of the most memorable things with me with Jeff and you, Carrie, was when we all went to work out, right? Or watch Jeff work out. And long story short, everyone, we got kicked out of the gym. We actually asked permission to film inside of there, and we got permission from one manager, and then the next manager up, and then the next thing you know, somebody's on the phone, and got Jeff on the phone, and let me tell you, he's got the eye of the tiger. So the music that Carrie chose for his tribute video was spot on. But that was one of the most memorable moments. Also, the 31 patties, can't forget that. That was absolutely hilarious.
We ate the 30. Adam had the 1, I think is what happened.
Right. Yeah, I had the ice cream. But one of the things that I was hoping that I'd get to say to Dr. Hampton was this book right here. A friend of mine actually got this. This is Standard of Care from the National Institutes of Health and the National Cancer Institute. And I'm sorry, Lynn and Jim Tucker, but this is probably going to trigger you. So this is recommended foods for people that are, either have cancer or post-cancer. So just one recipe in here is just, it triggers me, and it really upsets me that this is suggested to people with cancer. So this is for people with a sore mouth, is what they say. It's fruit and cream. And in that recipe is 1 cup of whole milk, 1 cup of vanilla ice cream, 1 cup of canned fruit, peaches, apricots, pears in heavy syrup with juice, and 1 or 2 drops of almond or vanilla extract to taste. That's just one recipe. And they go in depth with milkshakes and I mean, the list goes on and on and on of all these foods. And literally it's either sugar, pure sugar, or something that turns to sugar. So this is what's being recommended to everybody as a standard of care across the country. And this is one reason why it was so important to Jeff to get the message out for his cancer action plan and for people to sign that petition to actually try to make change within the system, as well as, changes on his YouTube channel. He just wanted to help others. And I just really wanted to bring that up because it's absolutely sickening knowing that glucose causes cancer or makes it worse, feeds the cancer. And literally that's what they're being told to eat. It's sickening.
I remember Jeff said something like, it's almost like you're drowning and they throw you an anchor. Like, I have cancer, I have this diagnosis, and here you go, eat some sugar. It's so backwards. It's so wrong. So thank you, Adam. Ollie, I think you raised your hand there for a second. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you all. I just wanted to say we have some awesome people here tonight who have generously donated to the GoFundMe, and we have just surpassed $45,000. And I'm going to do my little mathematics here. We have like about 300 people watching. So if everyone just donated $25, we would absolutely make this target, and that would flow a lot of help and love and care in this time of need for Jeff and his family. And all of us would really appreciate it. And for sure, Heavenly Jeff will appreciate it. And his family could definitely use that. So that's what I wanted to say right now. And I want to say, hi, Russ.
What's going on, Ollie? Just as I'm talking, I'll just say a couple of words. This is from a little different angle. One thing that he definitely taught me and showed me and reinforced for me is that you have to be yourself. You have to do what you do and inspire people in a way that you are built to do it. And we're all different. We all think different. We all live different. We all act different. We have a common theme that binds us, but we're all different in our personalities. And, Adam knows this, Carrie knows this. I get hate from people because, they, you don't take anything seriously, and they're right. You can ask my first grade teacher and my dad. They'll tell you, going way back, I don't take anything that seriously. But it's me. It's who I am. And I know it helps people, and I know it inspires people like Jeff. And it was one of the most, most humbling and honorable thing, most honoring thing to me for him to tell me how much it meant to him, and that he would get his family together to watch me act a fool on this internet, and that it brought him joy and peace. So I'm going to do what I do. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I was his, and other people like him. So that's the lesson, I think. Just do what you do, be who you are, and work to inspire people. If God wanted everybody to sound like, be like Dr. Barry, he'd have us all falling off of tractors out in the woods somewhere. It's just, he can reach people that I can't, and I maybe can reach people that he can't. And that's the goal. If we're all in this, we all need to be reaching people by any means necessary. And whether it's a doctor like Hampton with presentations, or if it's a guy like me doing silly characters, get the message and get the message out. And, I learned that, and it was reinforced by Jeff and his boundless, the way he attacked life, and the way he, didn't let things get to him no matter what, just keep going, doing what you do and how you do it. And, that's the biggest lesson that I learned from him. And I learned it, but it was reinforced and refreshed by him.
Right. Beautifully said, Russ. You got a whole bunch of love in this community. Several comments.
I appreciate it, man. I wasn't fishing for love, but it's, but thank you.
Absolutely. Speaking of love, I gotta just say this one more time, because it keeps going in my head over and over again. We keep talking about how Jeff went on for 30 months when he was given 3, so 27 extra months. Again, all credit to Jeff, because he put in an incredible amount of hard work. But I got to shout out Dwight Garlow again up there.
Thank you, Gary.
If you didn't show him, I said this the other day, but some people didn't hear this. When Dwight and I were honored to be pallbearers at Jeff's service, and we were sitting at the front, and Jeff's coffin was right here, and people were coming up for communion. Hundreds of people came out to honor Jeff, to mourn Jeff, and they were all crying, and they were all touching the casket. I was sitting 3 feet away from it, and I looked over at Dwight, and I just started tearing up, just thinking, like, most of the people here have no idea that without Dwight's intervention, showing Jeff the path, Jeff did the hard work, but showing him the path, it probably would have been a couple months instead of 27 extra months that Jeff's wife and children and all of those people got with Jeff. So you're an absolute hero, Dwight. It's amazing what you did.
Thank you. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right. Anyone else have anything to say?
Well, I can back up what Russ was saying, that Jeff did actually like him, which I was a little surprised at first.
Adam strikes back.
So when we were up filming him in his home, he actually literally made certain that his family sat around to turn Russ on the television and watch that. He enjoyed it so much, mainly Russ. So
yeah.
And I one other quick thing. I'm in preacher mode a little bit. I was doing preacher videos last night, but the times I want to thank you, Carrie, for everything. Man, you have done so much for this community. You have brought us so many people. That's enough. But
keep going.
Hey, look, that's all you get. I rock with you, man. You're my man. I don't need to tell you that. I support everything you're doing. But times like this also, just reflecting on my thoughts of this, it forces us to look at how we're going to be remembered. At least for me, maybe not for everybody, but look at the outpouring, like you said, at Jeff's funeral, like what we're doing online here. And that's a tribute to his legacy, just in the short time that I knew him, or that you brought him to us. And so, if you're a person like me, it forces you to look in the mirror and think to yourself, man, when because this life is short. It feels long, but it's really pretty short. But you can't help but wonder, man, when my time comes, how are people going to think of me? How will they remember me? How will they, what is my legacy? What am I doing? To inspire others, to reach others, to to help people. So, that's a something that obviously has been running through my mind, and it runs through my mind anytime a friend or something dies. Is as I see how people remember them. For me, man, I just hope. Listen, when I'm gone, somebody mentions my name, I just hope everybody busts out laughing. That's really my goal. If I can, that's what I want my legacy to be, and we have to think about what we want our legacies to be and work towards that, so that our lives can hopefully have meaning.
Yeah. No, well said, Russ. I think Adam and I weren't anticipating that, thinking about that, but when we went to the viewing and then the service, that's all I was like, this is incredible. There's hundreds of people here coming to support Jeff and love Jeff and mourn Jeff. And then I was thinking, I think I even said this to Adam, I'm like, there's hundreds of people here. For every individual person present here, there's probably 1,000 more online that are mourning Jeff right now and thinking about Jeff. It's incredible. Makes you think, for sure. All right. Well, hey, we're getting emotional here. Maybe we need a little comic relief. We have Reverend IB Low Carbon. Should we show it right now? I think Jeff would have. I think Jeff would have absolutely loved this. Here we go. We're gonna show Reverend IB Low Carbon. This is one of Jeff's favorite things, and Russ was so sweet and nice to put this together specifically for Jeff. So I'm just gonna shut up now and show it. Let's go. I'll make sure the sound is on. I'm going to make this full screen. Here we go.
What's up, everybody? It's your man, Russ Mitchell, the Homesick Buckeye. I know you're here to see the Reverend. He'll be in here in a minute to do his thing, but before the Reverend gets here, I just wanted to say a few words from my heart. This video is in memory of and in tribute to our friend, our brother, Jeff Prosperis, who recently lost a battle with cancer. I was fortunate enough to meet Jeff, and lucky enough to meet Jeff through Healing Humanity, Kerry Mann Jr. and Adam Lacey. They were filming him for their upcoming documentary, and he mentioned to them that he was a fan of me and my channel and the Reverend. And, they arranged for us to meet, and he was so excited. And he came on my show and told me something that really touched me and really moved me. That when he was having bad days or chemo was rough, he would get his boys and they would sit there and watch the Reverend videos, and they would just laugh. They would laugh and it would take their mind off of things, and they really appreciated it. And as he was telling me the story, my eyes were just starting to well up with tears, and I was just so moved that someone who's fighting for their life with weeks to live would gather around with their family and watch me act a fool on this internet. I was so humbled and just so grateful and thankful that I could be a blessing to him. And I didn't want to cry because, man, I cry ugly. You don't want to see that. Oof, oof. No. So he asked me to do a little bit of the Reverend for him, and I said, I can't do that. But the next video I make, the next Reverend video, it's going to be for you and your family. How about that? And he was so excited. He said, "Oh, that'd be great, man. I love that. I can't wait. Well, as life would have it, several months would go by. Had some personal problems, some personal struggles, and didn't make any Reverend videos. And I think it's been almost a year. I wouldn't swear to that, but it's been quite a while since I made another Reverend video. And when I got the news from Kerry about his passing, just hit me like a ton of bricks that I never made that video for him. But then I thought about it. I said, you know what? I promised him the next video I made for the Reverend would be for him and his family. And I haven't made one, so I can still keep my word to him. And that's what I'm doing. I should have done this a long time ago, but I'm doing it now. And I'm grateful and thankful that I met him. I'm grateful and thankful that he shared his story with me and shared that with me. And grateful and thankful that I'm able to keep my word to him. And this video is for him. And I just want to say, when you're doing these things and you're on these YouTube and whatnot, you never know who you're going to touch, who you're going to reach. If you're thinking about doing it and you haven't done it, do it. Do it today. You never know who's watching. You never know whose life you can touch. I mean, I just can't imagine, you know, just the feelings that he had, and fighting for his life with this time. But I was able to be a small part of bringing him some joy and peace, and that's what I'm all about, man. Y'all know me. I try to bring the funny with me everywhere I go. And like I said, I wish I'd have done it before. I didn't, but I'm doing it now. I hope you like it. I hope the family likes it. And Jeff, my man, you rest in peace, brother. I'll see you on the other side. Yes, yes. Ketogenic peace and blessings to everyone. I am the Reverend I.B. Low Carbon here with you today. And folks, I've been away, gone too long, but I'm back. I'm strong, filled with ketogenic power. Yes, I was low, family. I am not immune to the wily tricks of the enemy. I am but a man. And sometimes your reverend gets weak and gets trapped in a snare, but I'm out of that snare. But I was low, lower than the prophet Chafee's A1C, lower than the prophet Barry's glucose, lower than Adam Lacey's IQ. Family, that's low. I was low, but I'm back up high now, filled with ketogenic power, here with a message for my ketogenic people around the world. Family, there is nothing more precious, and this has been on my heart, nothing more precious than our children. Our children are the next generation to fight this wicked enemy. We're in a sugar-sick world. We're in a world where folks are drowning in a sea of pudding and custard. They're trapped in pancake prisons and down in donut dungeons. They're in cupcake erections everywhere in this nation. Sickness and disease on every hand. But we know that we have this ketogenic message that can heal the land. And our children are such an important part of that. Family, we must protect our children, bring them up in the ketogenic way. I believe that children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. And when I think of young ketogenic warriors and ketogenic family, I can think of none finer than Jeff the Prosperis, our Deacon Jeff, with Mother Martha, teaching young Peter and young Dante the ketogenic ways, teaching them, bringing them up in the ways of ketogenic living, making sure they're healthy and strong, making sure they don't have brain fog, making sure they can sit still at school and learn something without that sugar water coursing through their veins, bouncing off the walls like sugar-filled hellions. They can sit still and learn something because they're powered by protein and fueled by fat. They don't wake up in the morning and get pastries and donuts. They don't need Kellogg's and Hostess. They don't need bagels and toasts. They need fat and protein that'll get them to ketosis. Can I get a witness today? Telling them to go to school with pride. Hold your head up high. Tell those other kids we're not like everyone. We don't eat pizza. We don't eat tater tots. We eat protein. We eat fat. We don't drink Sunny Delight. We don't drink Coke and Sprite. Protein and fats, that's where it's at. Sweet tea in our cup, that ain't what's up. Young Peter and young Dante have been taught by Mother Martha and Deacon Jeff not to fall for the lies of the wily enemy. They know that Snickers can't satisfy them. Satisfaction only comes from protein and fat. They're powered by protein, fueled by fat. They've been taught that there is no greatness in a frosted flake. It's nothing but death and destruction. Rice Krispies and Wheaties will lead to diabetes. Sugar and grain will destroy your brain. Young Peter and young Dante have been brought up in the ketogenic way. They know they are powered by protein. They're fueled by fat. They will not be moved and not be distracted by the clarion call of the sugar demon. They will not fall victim to death and destruction handed to them through drive-through windows from sea to shining sea. They will not have it. The enemy is a liar, and he plays tricks on our children. There is no butter in a Butterfinger, and how dare they defy our sacred butter by putting it on the label of that sugary death stick. Oh, I rebuke them in the name of ketosis. I spit it out. Spit it out. Tell them to taste the rainbow. You can't taste the rainbow. There's no rainbow in those multicolored sugar death pills. I spit them out. Ice cream, cupcakes. That food is poison. Teach them. Tell them. You want to be healthy from the head to the legs? Fry up some bacon and scramble some eggs. Can I get a witness today? Oh, I need a witness in this place. Our children don't have ADHD because they eat MEAT. We don't need medication for our kids to get an education. We must raise this next generation to tell the world with no hesitation, we got a message that'll heal this nation. Come on, somebody. Yes. I'm here to tell you that young Peter and young Dante will fight this fight like our Deacon Jeff and Mother Martha. They will not be weak. They will carry on with ketogenic power. They will be prosperous because they are the prosperous. You can't spell the prosperous without prosper. It's in the name. Can I get a witness today? Our future is in great hands with young Peter and young Dante and many other young ketogenic warriors that are leading the charge, leading the fight against this sugar demon that's possessing so many in our land. Our future is bright as young Peter and Dante, trained by Mother Martha and Deacon Jeff, are shining their light, shining a beacon of light so that lost, sugar-sick soul can find his way home. And family, I want you to join with me, Deacon Jeff, Mother Martha, young Peter and Dante, as we take this message to every mountain high, every valley low, to the city and to the field, from sea to shining sea. It's a life-saving, life-changing message that we must tell everyone. Keto saves. Keto saves. Tell the world. Keto saves. Amen and amen.
Russ,
That's awesome.
you outdid yourself, man. That was incredible. I started cracking up at the buttery death stick.
You gotta spit them out. Hawk to them out.
Well done, man. Oh, you're on mute, Russ.
Leave him on mute. He made fun of my IQ.
Yeah. Listen, I get a little bit of love, and Adams just starts hating right off the bat, man. You know, I poured my soul into that one, man. But I always try to do that, man. I mean, I'll set myself on fire if it'll make a difference in somebody's life, you know. But I'm just glad, like I said, that I could be a blessing to anyone, to anyone. And you know, it's what it is. I just do what I do, man.
Thanks for doing that, Russ. That was really special.
Yeah, that was very awesome. Jeff would have loved it.
100%. 100%. That was so good, Russ. It got better and better as you went too. I was just cracking up there near the end. Awesome, man. Good stuff.
And I found that goofy picture of him on his channel, like the end when I did the in memory of. I wanted something silly, and he was dressed up as I can't think of the name of the guy for Halloween.
Oh shoot! Yeah, he loved that guy too. He always
yeah.
Like it. What was his
like,
name?
oh, this would be great in memory of, and have him dressed up as that guy. So yeah, man. I you know, like I said, rest in peace, brother. We'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, Sandra said Jeff's laughing right now. I agree. Cracking up.
Hope so.
All right. Well, I want to do something here. We were doing this a little bit earlier. I asked Dr. Kiltz at one time for some advice for Jeff, to support Jeff. Like, what can I say to him? And you guys might have seen that in the other video. He basically ended it with just say, I love you, Jeff. So why don't we put that in the comments? I think it'll be kind of fun. Put some good energy out there. If everyone loves Jeff, put it in the comments. I love Jeff in the comments or the chat or whatever. And if anyone else has anything they want to share or say, please feel free. I'll ramble here for a second. The only thing I wanted to add near the end is, how can we honor Jeff's legacy? And for me, I've been thinking about this a lot. I think the best way to honor Jeff's legacy is to kind of be more like Jeff, be a helper. He believes we were put on this earth to help people, and I believe that too. Live your life to the fullest potential. I don't know anyone that was living their lives more fully than Jeff. there's this quote that I obviously didn't make up, but I really love. I think it was Abraham Lincoln. It's not the years in your life that count, but the life in your years. So living our lives to the fullest potential, helping other people, and putting your family first. That was the other thing I learned from Jeff. Every one of the calls that I did with him is usually in the audience or in the car at one of the soccer games before or after around there, because he always put the boys first. So those are some of the things I wanted to end with in terms of honoring Jeff. And I see a whole bunch of I love you coming through right now. So this is pretty awesome. Yeah, if anyone else has anything, feel free to jump in.
So
Yeah,
I'm going to honor. Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, I think the best way is just share with people, share your life, share your story, be yourself, be genuine and authentic, look to help people and support people. Always remember that no matter what you're going through, you can decide how you want to deal with it and how you want to approach it. And, I think that's one of the best things you can do to his memory.
Yep. So for me, the way I'm going to honor Jeff is, so for a lot of people out there, Jeff and I coach together. We coach basketball, volleyball, some soccer together. But it didn't matter. He could be all fired up in the heat of the moment. But after every game, we'd all come together and we'd all circle up, arms over each other's shoulder. And he just pushes love upon everybody. He would just, point out the good things that happen and then kind of just, okay, better luck next time. But we would always end. And I didn't make fun of him, but at one time I was like, is that your halo? Because he was very, very Catholic, right? Very, we would do a prayer before each game. And then after I called that his halo that we did, circling shoulders. Yeah. So that I'm gonna take that to my teams that I do. And I think that's the way I'm gonna honor him, is by circling up at the end of the game and just, keeping that tradition going.
That's awesome, Dwight. Adam and I were blessed to watch you and Jeff coach. And I remember it was kind of a tough time because you were doing cuts. Some kids were getting cut on the team. And I remember Jeff getting up in front of everybody and he said, you can be sad for 1 minute and then you go back and you get back to work and you go do the hard work. So
yeah, don't live on that sadness, right? You know, just give it a moment and carry on.
Awesome. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I'm going to honor Jeff. I was thinking, I was watching Ed Milet and he had this video, what if he had 1 week left? And it reminded me of Jeff. And he was talking about how Ed Milet, his daughter is in the same volleyball league as Kobe Bryant's daughter. And he saw Kobe with his kids a week before Kobe and his daughter passed on the helicopter. And he was saying, like, I wonder if Kobe knew how much time he had and if he would do anything different. And I was like, man, it reminded me of Jeff, because he said too, he saw Kobe waiting for his daughter to put her stuff in the bag, and he was patting her on the back, and then he was holding the other kid. And Jeff, he was that dude, like, he lived that. He probably thought too, like, how much time do I got left? And I just want to remind you guys, what if you had 1 week left? What would you change? What would you do differently? Would you hug somebody? Would you kiss them? Would you pat them on the back while they just put their stuff in their bag? Jeff was that dude. He was always thinking about his kids, and I'll honor him by just remembering, like, what would I do with the time left? And I'm gonna just focus on my kids like Jeff did. Jeff was always focusing on his kids, and that's what Kobe was doing. And that's, the carnivore stuff is great, but Jeff as a father and a fighter, that's what affected me the most. And I'll honor him by being a good father and a good fighter.
That's awesome, JT. Thanks.
You'll never be a better fighter than Anna. She got them hands. I'm telling you right now. You walk up on her if you want to. She will hit you with a 2-piece and a biscuit. I'm just telling you.
The last thing I'll say real quick in terms of honoring Jeff is I'm gonna make sure it's gonna be, if it's my life's work forever, honoring Jeff through the documentary and telling his story properly and getting it out to millions of people, because what he said to us and his story and his words and his work is so inspirational. So we're gonna make sure that the world hears about it for sure.
100%. I agree with that wholeheartedly, Carrie. And initially, full disclosure here, when Carrie wanted to add cancer as part of the documentary, I was a little bit hesitant, just because of the backlash we might receive from it. But that was definitely an error in my way of thinking. And Carrie had the vision to push through and incorporate this subject that's so important to so many people, that I'm thankful for you for that, Carrie, and I'll do everything I can to make sure that we honor Jeff's message to help others.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Adam. Yeah, 100%. We have to do it for Jeff, and then also just because Jeff was so excited, so passionate, so fired up about this whole project. We were talking about it quite a bit. So, and he's a huge part of it. So we'll definitely honor him that way. So maybe we'll end it there unless anyone else has anything else they want to say before we wrap up.
I love you, Jeff.
Yeah, we love you, Jeff. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I really appreciate it. If you want to donate, or if you can't donate, or if you could share the GoFundMe, we'll leave the link in the description below. And there's a link for Dr. Hampton's presentation that we did earlier together as well. And there's also a link to Jeff's channel, which is still up, Blessings on My Journey. So make sure, if you guys haven't followed that, you can go back and follow there as well. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Russ, too. That was incredible. A great way to end it. Really appreciate you all. Everyone have a good night.
Good meeting you guys.
Anthony.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.